Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to our myth busting, fact finding live stream today. What are the costs involved in having a plan B in place? Or perhaps maybe we should call it your future plan A in terms of global residencies and citizenships. Will having multiple passports or residency only apply for the super rich? Can you buy a residency or passport outright? Legally? If yes, and how? Where is this all done? Does your current country allow this type of residency and citizenship purchases and for you to own one? Why are people in this day and age even considering having a plan B or maybe a plan A in place for themselves, their family, and future generations? All these questions will be answered in today's live stream, unedited, uncensored, and only the hard facts and truths about global mobility programs and citizenship regulations which could affect you based on where you currently reside. We'll do a quick introduction if you don't know me yet. My name is Reza, founder and CEO of Ingwe Immigration, your gateway to second, third, or even fourth or fifth residencies and citizenships, no matter where you're from and where you're planning to go. We have an active portfolio of more than 20 programs and countries that offers a variety of options for investors and serious professionals seeking that residency or citizenship solution. At Ingwe, we've helped thousands of clients since 2018 from 55 different nationalities. And we specialize in cross-border solutions. We cover Europe, Central America, North Americas, Caribbean islands, and even New Zealand in our portfolio of destination programs and countries. Whether you're seeking a fast track to residency, looking to invest in real estate abroad, aiming to retire comfortably, enhance your quality of life, find crypto-friendly tax countries, or perhaps even acquire direct citizenship without moving anywhere. Whether it's for yourself, your future generations, or maybe a sibling or parent, doesn't matter. We provide more than just visa assistance. This is a customized solution from A to Z, helping you navigate the government policies, cultural, language barriers, processes, steps, paperwork to support your portfolio diversification, selecting the investment, or relocating for new opportunities for yourself or your children. And sometimes you don't even need to relocate. Our global partnerships and multilingual team speaking 10 languages, no matter where you're from, can help you with this process. You can engage with our office either through checking and clicking the links below this video, going on our website and pressing the Contact Us webpage and checking on what program you're interested in. Let's dive deep into it. We're not talking about diamond-encrusted Bentleys here, folks, or private jet airplanes. Not at all. We're talking about you and your future plan for yourself and family. At any time in your life, are these points that you're planning for even or considering for your future financial freedom? Do you want to give your children and your children's children a better future with more options than what you had growing up? Beautiful sunny weather or non-stop clean air? Or maybe less crime, or maybe less political talk. Avoiding the rat race, not necessarily retiring maybe, but taking it easy, going at your own pace while working at your own leisure, maybe on a beach or somewhere calm, maybe in the suburbs, on a valley somewhere, right? Maybe south of Portugal. Paying less taxes? Yeah, I think we're all up for that. Family reunification, I'll dive more into that later. Diversifying your investments into different currencies or geographic regions or asset groups. Mitigating political and geopolitical risk in your investment portfolio. We should all know about that. Investing in your children and future generation options for education abroad and better or more affordable health care, perhaps. The freedom to stay as long as you like in the country or destination where you plan to spend more and more time over the coming 10 years. Alternative financial footprints abroad. These are just a few of the reasons why people look at global residencies and citizenships. Newsflash, if you have or can get a valid passport, a police check, your family, maybe your parents, or even a benefactor have the funds to help you, or if you have the funds, you're as good as qualified more for most of these programs that we're talking about today in this live stream. Do you remember the old days when a mobile phone was this big, and when you saw somebody on the street like an executive, and it was like, wow, that's a big deal. Well, today people have 2 or 3 phones, one for work, one for personal, and one for God knows what. Don't want to mention. Remember the good old days when homeownership was a luxury? Back in the days before World War I, homeownership was not very common in the US. But eventually, if you look fast track to today, people are trying to buy homes, like a getaway home, a cottage, right? Like a home in the countryside to relax while you have your main residences in the city. Or even cars. You remember that first Ford Motor Company car that came out? It was like, wow, what is this? Everyone was looking at it. Today, families have 2 or 3 cars, maybe even more. The same goes for residencies and citizenships. Do you only have 1 citizenship or 2? One for one of the countries maybe you don't want to go back to? Well, you're stuck in the past. And we'll cover these points in depth right after we do some myth busting on global residencies and citizenships, because we're assuming you may not know all the facts. Yes, it is legal for Americans and Canadians to have multiple residencies and or passports, citizenships, meaning you could have 10 passports and it's 100% legal. Fact. Do you need millions of dollars to purchase an alternative residency or passport? Of course not. Residencies can start at $165,000 and above, and passports from $235,000 and sometimes even lower, depending on your family size. For the price of a luxury high-end RV or a Cadillac Escalade V, which I like as well, or similar high-end cars in your country, which are not really considered an asset in North America and Europe, right? It's a liability. For that same price, you could qualify and acquire a Plan B for your entire family and potentially future generations. Driving an Escalade V, would that in any way benefit your future generations? Not sure about that. And did I mention that parents can be included too? Can your children, your children's children, your spouse, your common law, and even your parents also acquire this residency or citizenship which you're investing in? Yes. Will residency and citizenship programs be always open and cost the same? Well, that's a good question. I'll give you a few examples and ask you to come to your own conclusions. The USA administration recently announced a $5 million gold card to access the US as a resident and potential future citizenship. This is quite the leap from the 800,000 EB-5 program, which was launched approximately 35 years ago at about $500,000 per family. Although the EB-5 is still intact, many are fearing that that will be sort of phased out to just offer the $5 million options. The Canadian Investment Residency Program offered by the province of Quebec started at $400,000 Canadian back in 1986. This is the QIIP, Quebec Immigrant Investor Program, when it was first launched. Today's price tag for the same exact programs with a whole bunch of new conditions and restrictions, it's $1.2 million. Caribbean Citizenship Investment Programs, or we call them CBIs, were approximately 145,000 to 165,000 US just before July 2024. And now they're all over $235,000, $40,000, all of them, because of policy and regulatory changes in the Caribbean islands for their citizenship-based programs, based on the pressure that was put in by the US. Both the golden visas in Portugal and Spain used to have real estate options for their 500,000 euro investment options for the golden visas. They both removed real estate as an option, one end of 2023 and Spain just recently in April 2025, which in turn pushes investors into high-risk asset categories such as private equity funds. Is that gone better or worse? The Canadian Startup Visa Program used to be cheap, maybe around 100,000 Canadian before April 2024. Now it's closer to over 200,000 Canadian dollars due to the government policy changes for this program implemented last April, capping the number of startups each designated organization can endorse for permanent residence applications under the specific startup visa program, which is the only direct federal business immigration program that allows you to apply for PR directly without even visiting the country or staying in the country until you're PR. Well, folks, the facts are all out there in the public domain. This is not made up stuff. These are facts. Does this help you answer the question on whether programs stay the same, cost the same, and are available without change throughout time? Just like anything else in life, education, healthcare, owning our home, investment, nothing becomes cheaper or easier to attain. And imagine your children in the future. Is it going to be easy? Yeah, maybe a trust fund baby for sure, maybe. But keep in mind that the world is changing very rapidly around us. Are you ready? Do you have a plan B? Do you have an insurance policy in place? Is it legal to buy citizenship or a passport? Of course it is. Governments around the world have specific programs, which are public knowledge, where you would donate or invest in that country to obtain citizenship and passports for yourself, family, parents, or even dependent siblings who are financially dependent on you. We'll name some of these countries later on in this video. And I'm not talking about going in a back alley and buying a passport. We're talking about legit passports. You may not even need to travel to that country, and it's couriered directly to your door. 100%. Can citizenship from these countries be passed on to multiple generations down the line? The answer is yes. Do you need to live and reside in these countries which offer citizenship by investment? Not at all. Most of them that we'll cover don't even need you to visit at all ever. And only one or two of them require short visits becoming eligible or even after the first passport is issued. That's mind-boggling, isn't it? Well, remember, we're always posting about key details for investors, entrepreneurs, and professionals for new programs, policy changes, seeking residencies, passports, and tax relief, or global real estate diversification. And if that's what you're interested in, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep down dive videos like this one. And the reason why is because it's free. You can unsubscribe anytime, right? Do you need to pay taxes twice if you purchase a citizenship from any of these countries? Well, if you don't reside in those specific countries, you're not a tax-paying resident, but rather a citizen living abroad who is not tax-paying. Of course, if you live in that country and your source of income is in that specific country, let's say you have a store or a business you're selling locally, well, then you would be eligible for taxes. And if you're an American citizen, no matter where you live, you always have to file your taxes and pay your taxes to the IRS, right? And if you are a tax resident of another country while you're an American citizen, you have to be considered dual tax treaties between the two jurisdictions so you don't get double taxation. For Canadians, if you're a citizen and you're moving abroad, as long as you become a non-paying tax resident of Canada, you're not obliged to pay taxes in two different jurisdictions. Almost all of the citizenship-based investment programs we're covering or offering do not tax their citizens on global income. So if you own a citizenship, a passport from another jurisdiction, and you're living in the US, you don't need to pay taxes to that country. We'll name a few of these countries in this video. Is cryptocurrency income taxed everywhere in the world as capital gains? Of course not. That's only in UK, Canada, US, and Australia and other countries. Many countries do not tax personal cryptocurrency trading income, which is why many seasoned crypto traders or even recent millionaire newbies become residents of jurisdictions such as Malta, Panama, Dubai, Estonia, and other jurisdictions around the world which have more relaxed and friendly taxation regulations. Whether crypto income or any other type of income you generated globally, these are serious options to consider. What if you invest in an alternative residency, not citizenship? What are the tax implications for you? If you're an American citizen, no matter where you live or reside outside of the US, you still need to file your taxes with IRS. That's citizenship-based taxation. You just need to take advantage of any dual taxation treaties between the two countries if you plan to reside in another country while you're an American citizen. If you're not a tax resident of a specific country, but you own you have the residency, you continue to pay your taxes only to the country you're still a tax resident of. So in technicality terms, you could have 3 residencies but be a tax resident of only one country. Many countries have dual taxation treaties with Canada, US, Europe, and other jurisdictions, allowing you to calculate and plan your tax implications before you become a resident. As well, most of the investment residencies programs, besides Canada and New Zealand, don't require you to be considered a tax resident unless you stay there for 180 days, 83 days or more during the year. Many of the golden visas or investment residency programs don't even require constant residency to maintain your status in that country. That's why it's called a Plan B, because it's in your back pocket. Hence, easy to mitigate your tax footprint. Can you renounce a citizenship and obtain a new citizenship? This is the multi-million-dollar question many Americans ask. The answer is yes. Of course, you need to have a second passport citizenship ready when you're renouncing your own citizenship as an American, but that's the easy part. The citizenship renunciation is 100% legal, although overseas USA embassies have long waiting lines for this step, as it's not in the best interest of the American government to let you go as a tax-paying citizen of America. Of course not. No country would. Other countries may take less time or the same, as this is not something governments prioritize to lose tax-paying citizens. I always use the analogy of these subscriptions. Have you ever subscribed to, I don't know, a magazine or an online service or website or anything, and it was really easy to subscribe in terms of citizenship? Maybe you were born there. But then when you try to unsubscribe, they don't make it a one-click option. You've got to call or fill out a form and mail it or talk to 10 different customer support people to eventually have 10 other offers to you before they will unsubscribe you. And that's how I see governments when they have subscribed taxpayers as citizens. And keep in mind, French citizens, universal tax income taxation is also being implemented for France very soon, which is going to follow the citizenship-based taxation regulations of the US. And this is a domino effect, everyone. Wherever you are, eventually your government down the line, 5 years from now, 8 or 10, will start taxing you no matter where you are in the world, or if you even reside or use their services. Keep in mind that you need to plan your exit strategically with your local CPA and tax advisors, as there are exit taxes in many countries. In other words, calculations on disposing of all of your assets at the time of renunciation in order to tax you one more time before they let you go. Of course, if you plan ahead correctly before your asset pricing increases, or have trust and estates planning done correctly, all this can be minimized during the renunciation stage. Can somebody else pay for your investment to obtain a citizenship or residency in one of these other programs or countries as a Plan A or B? Well, the answer is yes. For many of the citizenship-based programs being offered, known as CBIs, and even residency programs in Central America and Europe, and so forth, you can have your parents pay, siblings, or anyone who has vested interest in helping you. The only exceptions are countries like Canada, New Zealand, Malta, UK. These don't accept other people paying for them having the money for you to qualify for those programs. But we'd be happy to check your eligibility against a portfolio of 20 programs and countries in the world, depending on your specific scenario, family composition, financials, in order to give you the right advice. Let's look at the list of countries you can buy citizenship or passports outright, including approximate cost, timelines, and if you need to reside there before you can become eligible and obtain that citizenship. The Caribbean CBI programs are the most flexible, with no requirement at all to even visit the islands before you obtain your citizenship and passports. The entire process can take anywhere from 4 to 10 months, depending on which of the islands you choose. The cost starts around $235,000 US and higher, depending on whether you select a donation to the government fund, real estate, and the size of your family, whether you're going to include any of your parents or dependent siblings. These countries include St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and Grenada, which are all located in the Caribbean islands. The only country in this group which does require you to visit at least once is Antigua and Barbuda. And that's only after you've been granted a citizenship and received your first passport, which is valid for 5 years. But before your first renewal within that 5 years, you are expected to do a short visit. Let's say consider it as a holiday. There's a lot of nice resorts there before you can renew. Another positive point of these programs is they do not tax you on your global income or inheritance or capital gain. And you can pass the citizenship to your children and their children as well. Some of the islands do have restrictions or cutoffs on generational passing on, and some don't yet, protecting your investment for future generations. If you have questions about that, reach out to us. There are also 2 islands with lower cost citizenship programs, which are typically serving a different market and demographics. This is Nauru and Vanuatu, which are both located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, both tiny islands, as they call them, micro-sized governments, countries, states. They have very affordable citizenship-based donation programs starting at 135,000 US plus. The main clientele for these countries are seeking an alternative citizenship to be able to open bank accounts and have financial footprints in various jurisdictions without showing the original citizenships of where they are. It's a very niche market. And remember, folks, these global mobility citizenship programs allow you to also travel visa-free to many countries, including UK, Europe, and roughly around 147 to 149 countries for the Caribbean islands. For Nauru and Vanuatu, those numbers are significantly less because the people who buy into those programs are looking for a different solution and not exactly global mobility. Last but not least is Malta, which is a full EU member and the only EU country and passport you can actually purchase outright without living there or taking any language exams or residency requirements. The whole process takes about 14 months, does not require you to live there permanently before you become a citizen, but requires, 3 or 4 short little trips in that 14-month period in order to create more ties to the country for you before they give you that passport. The cost can start around 1 million euros in donations, contributions, and admin fees without legal fees. In case you rent a property in Malta, which is a separate cost. You can also purchase a property in Malta and qualify for this program on top of the contributions and donations that you do need to add, but that would cost you approximately 1.5 million euros, roughly. You would receive a full EU passport in approximately 14 months and can reside in any of the 27 EU countries as a full-time resident, which is a right EU citizens have all across this Schengen region, meaning you don't need to technically live in Malta when you get the passport, but could purchase the passport, then decide to live as an EU citizen full-time as a resident in south of France, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Cyprus, or even Croatia, if you wish to do so without restrictions of how long you can stay there or whether you can work, live, and study and all that mumbo jumbo. Don't forget that Malta also has an excellent low tax regime and flexibilities if your income is sourced from outside the country, and is very crypto friendly in case you're considering to reside in Malta or make that as your main tax residency. Most of the programs are easy to apply and most applicants would qualify. All you need is proof of funds that you have enough to invest, a background check such as a police clearance certificate or FBI report in case you're an American, a medical check, and a valid passport. Of course, if you're bringing along family, you would need a marriage and birth certificates as well. In most of these programs, except the Canadian program, you don't need work experience. You don't need proof of language. You don't need proof of education or anything else. It's simple. And as long as you have the funds to support the process, it's a very simple, safe paperwork process and steps, and which we will guide you and support you throughout the whole process. Now you can slowly understand a bit of what we mean by tax-friendly jurisdictions or programs. Perhaps you want to live by the Mediterranean and earn tax-free income abroad. Then a residency in the EU countries in our portfolio can facilitate this, or perhaps Central America. Perhaps you wanted your children to have educational options abroad, significantly cheaper than state university in the US. Then Canada or even EU would fit the type of programs you're seeking. Or perhaps you cannot reunify with your family and relatives in the US or Canada or other countries due to political or other reasons. Who knows? then obtaining a residency in easy jurisdictions such as Panama, Dubai, Portugal, Italy, Malta, or other countries can allow you, your family, and relatives to apply and be reunited. Even if it's for temporary or short term throughout the year, you don't need to live there all the time. Or perhaps you want to own property in the Mediterranean or near a beach somewhere in the EU, maybe Vancouver Island, Southern Pacific Ocean, or Central America. In that case, you also want the flexibility to stay as long as you wish, anytime you wish, without questions, not to be considered as a visitor visa or a tourist with restrictions on them. This would be an ideal case for residency that you can purchase or invest in depending on the country and program you're applying for. That can either provide you a temporary residency for 5 years, renewable, or a permanent residency without the obligation to become a tax resident, such as, for example, in Italy, you can have a temporary residency, come and go as you wish, and not be a tax resident. Whether it's for yourself, your family, your business, or your children's children, you can now understand that having an alternative residency and citizenship is like having an insurance policy. It's there in case you need it, and it makes you and your family feel safe. It can also be considered like a diversified investment portfolio. You ask your broker or investment advisor to invest in different industries, right? To balance it out, different types of funds, and even emerging economies around the world or different currencies. That's just to balance your risk, right? The reason you do this is to mitigate and balance risk in your investment portfolio, to protect you and your family's financial future, right? In the global residency and citizenship industry, we call this service protection of generational wealth. It's easy, fast, and doesn't cost more than a high-end electric SUV in the US. And it would be considered an asset, unlike a vehicle, not a liability or a monthly payment. If you like immigration hacks, creative immigration solutions, or cross-border solutions for yourself or your clients, well, we have the exposed truth about immigration policies, residencies, and citizenships. And you can click and subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post more videos like this every week. And we have our live stream every Thursday where you can ask questions. Thanks for tuning in, folks, to our live session. If you see the potential for yourself, your family, or your clients in securing a third, fourth, or fifth citizenship or residency, make sure to stay connected with us for the latest updates. At Ingway, our company, we're dedicated to crafting customized solutions. We offer a variety of programs to match your goals, backed by our expert guidance, and our commitment is transparency, choice, and security, and full support. With comprehensive professional insurance and client trust accounts in our North American banking institutions, your investment is protected. Plus, our multilingual team supports applicants for 55 different countries and speaks 10 languages. Ready to take the next step? Click the link below this video. If you want more personalized guidance, you can also book a consultation, but my team would be happy to provide you a customized proposal based on your eligibility and also answer all of your questions, whether it's through our FAQ documentation or perhaps a live call with me if you're qualified for any of our programs. We do have some questions, and every Thursday we are here to answer your questions as well. Any questions regarding global mobility, and of course it can be for Canada, New Zealand, Italy, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Greece, Spain, Portugal, Malta, Panama, and so forth, or whether it's St. Kitts, Nevis, Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbuda, or Dominica, right? Those were a lot of countries I just mentioned. El Carito is saying, has a question about the startup visa program to Canada. He says that they've applied for the startup visa permanent residency in 2021 and there hasn't been a response. Well, El Chicharito, sorry if I mispronounce it. If you are with a non-priority letter of support, a non-priority designated organization, the process for the permanent residency processing can take four years or more, close to even 4.5 years. If you were with a priority designated organization, because last April, if you know, the government of Canada changed and categorized the designated organizations which were endorsing startups, priority and non-priority. So if you're stuck with the non-priority, you're in for a long haul. That's why we only do priority designated organizations. Folks, tune in next week, Thursday, 11 a.m. Standard Eastern Time to tune in to our live session where we present on various global residencies and citizenship programs every week. And of course, you can ask questions about any program. And if you can't tune into our live session, just reach out through our website and just mention that you tried to tune in, you missed it, and you have some questions. And our team would be happy to answer your questions. And we're here to support you. And remember, folks, don't apply for the sake of applying. Make sure you do research. Make sure you do your homework. Make sure you apply with a plan. And that's why we're here to support you. Okay? And if you missed this, we're just tuning out right now. We're back next Thursday, live session, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And of course, we have regular videos being posted on our YouTube channel and social media about programs such as Panama, Italy, Bulgaria, Greece, Canada, New Zealand, and Caribbean Islands CBI programs to obtain your passports and citizenships. Okay? Hopefully you haven't missed it, and you can always rewind and watch again any of our videos on our YouTube channel. Thanks again, folks. Have a wonderful upcoming Easter, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.